Hello, everybody. I hope you are super well on this Friday. I am holding this little training today all about gaining confidence to turn up just like I am now, really, in essence, going live, sharing more of you, but in the context of you being an artist. So I'm talking to you now more on a coaching support level, but this same way of connecting is so powerful in the sense of how you can connect your art with your audience. And it's been an amazing tool for me in my business. And I want to share a bit about that today. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about is what it's done for me and how it wasn't always natural. Like this for me, I haven't really rehearsed this. I've created a little document that is going to give you a bit of guidance around how you can progress to getting this confidence. But I haven't rehearsed this. I'm just going live. And for me, this is just the best way to be authentic and for people to be like, human, I can connect with this person. There's no contrived nature about it. You're just being you. You might have a moment where you pause or slip up or say something or somebody might interrupt, but that's real and people really relate to that. So this kind of interaction that I'm having with you right now has been something a lot of people who follow my art have commented on how much they enjoy it, how much they like it, how they feel like they know what's going on with regards to what I'm doing, even though, some of my friends I haven't seen for ages potentially. And they're like, I just feel like, I know what you're up to and how business is going. And it's just a wonderful way to create a very personal connection with people and find a way to kind of talk to them as if you know them, which is quite a hard thing to do unless you are having an opportunity to have a conversation in real life. It's if we're, say, at an exhibition or having a show and we're there and we're able to talk to our art and talk to the people about us and our journey and our story and our art and why we love it, that's the ultimate, right? That's the ultimate moment for you to create connection and for them to really get another layer of you as a person and your art. I talk a lot about how we underestimate, yes, we can create beautiful things, but the reason, and somebody might be drawn to that, but the reason why somebody might then make the step to actually invest and potentially invest a lot of money is because they know more about what the story was, the process was, who you are as an artist in your journey, and they connect with that as another layer over loving your art. And that's unbelievably powerful. It's all about stories. It's all about the people behind what we do, in the sense of creating beautiful things. So I'll get right into it in the sense of just sharing a bit about my journey about, getting to this point where I feel confident to just talk to you in the sense of not worrying so much anymore about judgment and not worrying so much about perhaps how people perceive me. And that has not happened. I've not always been like this. It's, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is something that we can all just suddenly turn up and do. It's quite daunting and it can feel really yucky turning up and talking in front of people. To give you some context, when I was in my role, my previous career before doing my art full time, was as a business leader. I was in the field of construction, and for a number of years, I worked my way up in that career, and I became a business leader. And every Monday morning we had a meeting, and we had to stand up in front of up to 100 people. We had a big team. And share the news of the business and talk about what's going on and share the wins and share what's going on in our team. And I used to feel physically ill doing this. When did I start doing that? I started doing that kind of thing about 9 years ago. And I would get this rash that it was visible. It would be all the way kind of up to my ears and would be just a bright red rash that would appear, and it was just a outward projection and visual of the absolute dread that I used to feel doing this. And it was awful. I hated it. And it was just, like I say, it was a physical manifestation of the feeling of inside going, I'm saying these things, but but I'm also going, what are people thinking of me? Do they believe me? Do they think I'm legitimate? Are they wanting me just to shut up? All the self-limiting, horrible things that we naturally start to bring out in those moments came out. And it took me years of doing this every Monday to finally get past this rash that would appear when I started to speak in front of people and start to be like, you know what? I am who I am. People can judge me all they want. I can't control that. So I'm going to stop thinking so much about that. I'm just going to start thinking about what I'm trying to share, the importance of that, and I'm just going to be myself. And I started coming out of my shell and being far more authentic in the sense of just being me and just not worrying so much about the perception of what everyone's thinking, because you start to realize when you start to think about it over and over again, you just can't control what anyone thinks of you. It's out of your hands. But the more authentic you get, and this is something that I noticed in my career then and in my art career, so, I've been through this twice now, is when I started to loosen up and show more of myself as a person, and that authentic me started to come through, my career started to move forward quite quickly in both my art and in my career in construction. So, when I was working in this job, I got promoted very fast in the sense of when I started just allowing myself to be me. I felt the change because I started to relax more and not worry about things so much, be more priority focused, what does and doesn't matter. And I allowed my true personality to shine through. And the same thing happened with my art business. So I used to hate social media. I hated it when I started. I barely used it for the first 3 or 4 years when I started doing my art. I realized when I wanted to leave and do it full time, leave my job in construction, do it full time, I had to embrace it if I really wanted to build a presence and build, awareness of what I was doing. And so I started to embrace it more and use it more. But I felt the same way when I started. It was like starting again in the sense of going back to that. I got some confidence in my other career and I kind of had some assurity, but then I was doing something new and I was like, well, no one knows me as an artist. What if they think I'm terrible? Who am I to say I can paint and sell my work? And who am I to say that you should go and check out my website? All of those same things came up for me again. And I had to go through another wave of breaking all of that down over time. And so for a long time, like I say, I'd use social media in a very limited way where I'd just be showing pictures of, mock-ups and, oh, here's my art, picture of a paintbrush and with my art and here it is. And that's all people would see. And then I started to build into sharing a little bit more of me. So I'd show a lot of photos from behind, not my face, of me painting so they could get a bigger view of how I was working. I just started to add a little bit more of me as the person into it and share a bit more vulnerable content. And I progressed in that way to the point where I was thinking like, okay, I'll have a photo with my face in it. And then I started to just chip away at the daunting feeling of sharing me to the point where I'm sharing with you right now, a live video face to face. And it takes time. But what I will say is that for anyone who thinks that they watch people, even if you watch me right now and go, well, it's fine for you to say because you just know how to do this. No, I do this now in this manner because I had years of pushing through the feeling of feeling incredibly gross and judged and just a massive bout of imposter syndrome. And I don't know if you feel it too. Like, let me know in the comments because it's good for me. It's great to hear your feelings around this. Are you confident so far, or is it something that, you kind of feel like you'd like to do more of, but can't just yet? I always refer to Mel Robbins and the way she talks about what confidence is. So, gaining confidence to do anything isn't necessarily about, oh, you either are confident or you're not. It's more like you have tried over and over again to do something and you build confidence by going through that process. And I truly believe in that. And this is a real example of how you can do this yourself. Get to the point where you start to share more of you and your art and your story in a way that people love. And I just want to give some, examples of the feedback I get of when I go live from my studio. I do that quite a lot. I haven't done it so much lately, but over the past year or two, I do a lot where I just go, I'm painting today. It's a good time to just go live on Facebook. I'm just going to do it. And I don't prepare. I literally just go live and I say hello. And it's kind of like imagining just talking to some old friends. And I just sort of give you a bit of insights to what's going on in the studio today. And I take them around some stuff I'm working on. And it's, like I say, I've had things like the dog starts barking or a courier man turns up or my daughter comes in while I'm doing this. None of that matters because what they're seeing in that moment is a real reflection of you as a human, and that is very relatable. We always worry about perfection and being super perfect when we're doing these things. But I think it's really far more important to remember, well, I'm trying to connect with humans on the other end of this. So actually what would be connecting is for them to see the human experience behind my work and what I'm doing, because that's what they will really relate with. So this is just an example of the kind of impact I get now from doing this. And I think there's a balance, right? I don't do this all the time. I do it probably at most once a week. And I think having that, you do it once a week, it kind of, you pop up on their notifications and they'll be like, oh, what are they up to this week? You don't want to make it so that you are kind of constantly blocking their feeds because they get desensitized to seeing you appear as well. So it's a balance. But what I just want to really emphasize is if you can start to build the confidence towards sharing photos of yourself, and I'm going to talk to you a bit, and I've got a little document, like a checklist that you can go through to help you start to take some steps into building in the next, maybe it's the next year, you have a goal to build into getting to this point. You can do different things that start to build your confidence, but also it gives you a lot more of a broad range of ideas to essentially mix up the content that you're sharing, which creates more interest. If you go live or just share a post of if you just share a post of the same painting, a detail every day for a week, well, people start to get a bit sick of it. But if you share it in different ways, that's when people are really engaged, but you're also able to remind them over and over again of something special that you want them thinking about as well, which is the essence of marketing and leading to sales. I've just got a few comments that so many people are contacting them saying that they love their lives, which is great. That's the exact same experience that I've had, and it's really awesome to hear that. So great to hear that, because I do honestly think that no matter what kind of art you do, in fact, no matter what kind of business you do, really, this is what people really connect with, because there's a human element. We always forget behind technology that that's still what we're trying to create. We're trying to create human connection. So I'm just going to show you this little, I've created this little checklist for you, and it's going to help you. If this is kind of new for you, or you're kind of feeling like you're doing some things but not others, this can help you start to just come up with some ideas to start posting different things and slowly working towards doing this. I think in any situation, you need to build up towards the big goal. If we suddenly go, I've never shown my face on Facebook, but I'm suddenly going to go do a live, that's going to be incredibly daunting for you, and it will potentially put you off going down this route ever. So I think it's important to think about a progression and how you can ease into this. So, so like I say, I've created this little checklist, and there's 6 points here that you can start to consider around how you can start to share more authentic side of you, where you will inevitably start to create some more intense and more genuine connection with your followers. So the step one here I have said is share a personal story. So if you've not started sharing your stories about your art and adding a bit more detail, and I talked a bit about this in previous trainings around how to write great captions that really engage. So many artists just lose their ability to connect because they just write acrylic on canvas 70 by 50. There's just no reason for anyone to feel anything towards your work if you're just writing that. So share a story about yourself, your journey, the piece, whatever you're talking about. Share a little bit of a story if you haven't done that so far, and that's the first step to sharing a little bit more of you. The second step is share a photo with you in it. Like I was saying, I'd started to do a lot of photos of me turning around without my face, painting, but it was showing glimpses of me. I just from posting, over the years, without a doubt, the photos that have me in it get so much more engagement. So much more engagement. People are just they will stop the scroll when they see a person in it, because we're all on technology so much at the moment. Seeing the human element is something that catches and triggers our brain. So the next part of this kind of progression forward would be set up a tripod or get someone to take a photo of you painting from the back, from behind you, and it gives a little bit of insight to you, starts to give you confidence to share a bit more of yourself without, perhaps doing the next step, which is having a photo of you looking directly at the camera, maybe holding a piece, or showing a piece on a wall, whatever it might be, sharing your face. And I promise you, if you did some testing of the response between a photo with you, just the photo on the wall, and the photo with you and with the piece, you will always, I'd put money on it that you'd always get higher engagement with the photo of you in it. So that's really a big one. Step 4 is then you can start to create a pre-recorded video showing your process. So when we start to get into videos, I think it starts to feel more daunting because it's kind of like real time, and it's like a photo, we can just kind of find the best one. But a video, we're like, oh, what if I say that wrong or do that wrong? So if you haven't started doing videos often, and video content is very important now, especially for Instagram, but just start the video making process with just recording maybe yourself talking in the background, but just maybe seeing your hands move and work. So you're perhaps, you're perhaps still talking in the background. There's an element of you there, but there's, you don't have to, be straight on talking to the camera. The next step would be create a video speaking directly to the camera while sharing your art. So record the video, but do what I'm doing now, but you don't need to do it live. So the only caveat I'd say about this is don't let yourself record it 10 times over, because you're kind of missing the point. Try not to think about perfection. Try to record it a maximum of 3 times. And just start to get used to the idea of just talking and sharing and being kind of anecdotal and, having a bit of fun with it. And that's a really, really, that's kind of your last step before doing this, which is going live, knowing there's no second take, and just letting whatever happens happen. But I think if you can start to kind of go, and you might do all of these things 3 or 4 times to just get confidence each time that you're doing it and just move through. But I've created this little checklist. You can tick off as you go, and you can also just make some notes about how you feel. So you might talk about the first time it felt horrendous, the next time it felt a little bit better, the next time it felt a bit horrendous again. But what you can do is reflect on how you're progressing and how your mindset is changing around it as you move through and start to do this more and more. And just some mindset tips I've got here, because I think there's some good little tricks to help yourself with these things. And so one of the things I do all the time is when I'm on, like if I'm live right now, and I don't need to do this so much anymore because I don't think about it and worry about it anymore like I did. But when I started to go live regularly about my art and I was still quite nervous, I would just imagine that there's just my best friends watching. And I wouldn't take any note of who was on the live, and I just pretended I was talking to my friends. And it meant that I could talk in a way that was very candid and very relaxed. And I didn't try and be too contrived. I tried to be very natural. And I think you don't want to try and be natural. You just want to try and be yourself, right? It comes back to that. How can I just share me without worrying what anyone thinks about that person? Ignore the live comments and watches initially. So what I'm saying there is if you go live or you have a video, in particular going live, don't worry about the comments that pop up to start. When you get more practice at this, you can engage with the people on the live and say hello and respond. But that's a lot to take in when you're first starting. So just ignore those and just focus on sharing the story, doing the thing. And once you practice that over and over again, you can start then engaging with the people on the call, on the live call. Embrace your interruptions, mistakes, and pauses, and just consider that as a part of your authenticity. So, like I said before, I've had things happen when I've gone live, dogs going mad or somebody turns up and you're not expecting it. And it's like, this is, the reality of also working from home in my studio. But you just make a joke out of it and go, oh, there you go, classic timing. And that's actually adds to the essence of what you're doing. We worry, oh God, it ruined it. People think I'm so unprofessional. What does that really mean? I think it's important to be like, well, actually, they probably got a bit of a laugh out of that. You can flip it another way. See the funny side of what that is. And they probably will see it that way anyway. Very few people, most people will want to support you and will, we always focus on the idea that somebody's judging us. Whereas most people are really just impressed that you're turning up and sharing what you're doing. So also focus on that. It gets easier with practice. So every time you try something like this, the stuff that makes us feel really uncomfortable is often the stuff that's helping us grow. So remind yourself that every time you do something like this and try something that makes you feel a bit gross and a bit icky, remember that there is likely good reason in the sense of you're breaking through a new boundary that you've set for yourself, and you're breaking through that and you're moving forward. And that's very exciting. So remind yourself every time I do something like this, whether it's just starting to show a photo of you or starting to create videos of you or going live for the first time, wherever you're at in this progression, remind yourself that the more you do it, the more it will feel okay. It will feel more and more natural. And just some ideas for going live. So I'm going to share, what I'll do is in this little document, I will share you some links to some of the live videos I've done in the past just to show you how relaxed they can be. But you can just share, like I say, you in the studio working on a progress piece. You can share a story about something that happened around a piece you're working on, something that has inspired you, something that an interesting engagement you had with a buyer or a person who came and visited your art, and something that was a neat conversation that could relate to other people. Anything that is something that could be really relatable, and even in the sense of you could be going live being like, here I am on holiday, and it's been a long time since I've been on holiday. I just wanted to share this beautiful place I'm in. It's been so nice to relax, even though I'm missing my art. It's really good downtime for me after such a busy time. Make it relatable in the sense of, well, just like anyone else, if you're an artist, you also go and do things that give you a break from that and inspire you as well. So there's lots of ideas that you can use, and there's no right or wrong one. It's just about feeling it out, sharing what you feel comfortable with, and just creating more opportunity for people to feel like they start to know you more, because I promise you that kind of connection will start to make people feel far more connected to you as a person and far more connected to you and your art. There's no doubt for me that when I am being very proactive in this space, and I haven't been in my art business for quite a lot of this year because of my, because I've not been well. And there's definite correlation and definite rhythms of business success and sales around how much, authentic of my authentic self I'm showing. And that directly correlates to kind of the sales that come through. There's no doubt about it. It's undeniable. So these are amazing tools if you can embrace it in a way that feels real and authentic and comfortable for you. Like I say, you will probably feel a little bit uncomfortable starting to do this stuff, but there's a balance of making sure that we're constantly pushing ourselves to push through our boundaries, but also doing it in a way that feels like it's authentic to you and your business. So these are some ideas. I will make this link available again with this training. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, if you're watching this anywhere, I've got a number of other these trainings now on YouTube and in the Art Coaching Hub Facebook group. And yeah, check it out. Share it with somebody who you think could benefit from this as well. Please tag them and share it with them, because I hope this information really does help as many people as possible. And if you're on my YouTube channel, yeah, like and subscribe it. And there'll be more that come out every week like this, all about building an authentic art business. Lots of different business topics that we'll be covering each week. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think this checklist is handy and it's giving you some ideas and maybe giving you some motivation to try something new. That is the key, I think. Trying something new all the time and when you're able to build a business is the key to success and key to enjoying it. Because building a business in itself is a creative process, which I think is also a really fun part about it. But other than that, I will leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this little training, and I will see you all very soon. Take care.